And something that there are 800 homegrown labels. All of them are targeting just that 1% customer.
So what is the Indian customer buying right now?
I always found myself intimidated by the number of options I had. Because marketplace का game ही सारा mass पे है. अगर आप mass को cater नहीं कर रहे हो, volume में ही चलेगा वरना नहीं चलेगा.
Are you ever like scared that your brand is like too niche?
No matter who tells you what, it's only perspective. None of it is solution. Consumer is now playing pickleball. Let me place my product here. I will do all the shoots in the pickleball court. I will launch racket. It's not important. Like your brand has nothing to do with it.
Above clothes, we are selling taste. And I always say this, that you can't design with taste. How many brands have you said no to?
I don't know. Just because it's niche doesn't mean it's not scalable.
Hello and welcome back to another episode by Just Because. Today we have Pritha with us from 2112. Hi Pritha.
Hi, thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm totally good. So one lesser known fact, we were in Pearl Academy.
Yes. Yeah, and we just discovered that right now.
Covered that.
Amazing, amazing. I'm already comfortable that you're from Perth.
In which year did you graduate?
2018.
2019 I joined and 2023 I graduated.
Yeah.
So, Pritha, tell me, what gap are you trying to fulfill with 2112? But before that, tell me the backstory of the name 2112.
Okay. Funnily, so when I tell people what 2112 means, it comes out as very naive because it's my birth date.
Oh,
But why I wanted to move ahead with 2112 is because, I mean, those numbers have just been very personal to me since the beginning. Like, some things like, okay, your phone passcode will always be that number.
yeah.
Whenever you're like doing something, if you need to put like numbers around it, you'll always put 2112. So in my head, those numbers have been very close to me all through my life. And when I was doing my own thing, I was certain that I want something to be around this date. Also, if you remember, there was this entire thing in 2012 that 21st December, the world is going to come to an end. So, I feel that date has just been monumental in general. And while I decided that, we also looked up what two and one when placed together mean. And luckily, so in numerology, it means that you're moving towards a better change. And that's what we're trying to do here with 2112 as well. As you asked me, the gap that we're trying to fill. Essentially, Muskan, as a fashion consumer, also pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, when there was an entire influx of homegrown brands on our feeds, even I was trying to tap into, okay, what product should I get? How should I become a part of this homegrown movement? Where should I shop from? Which brand should I purchase? I always found myself intimidated by the number of options I had. As much as quantity is great for an industry to grow, I feel it's also extremely intimidating for a layman to tap into that.
Can you elaborate?
So, say if I am on Instagram, now understand something that there are 800 homegrown labels. All of them are targeting just that 1% customer.
Yeah.
Right? So I am getting those ads and I really want to start purchasing from these brands now. But if I'm trying to make a decision, I don't know where should I get that one draped skirt from because I'm so confused. So by the end of it, when I actually need it, then I will have a time sensitive case because I would want to wear it somewhere. I would walk into my nearest Zara, go buy and come back. So I feel that decision fatigue is what was really, that was enabling the gap between the consumer and the brand. And to bridge it, I felt that 2112, I wanted it to be a place where we give visibility to these niche brands so that they are visible to a larger audience. And also, the decision fatigue is eliminated. I feel like, even if you see the website, the way we communicate, everything is done in a way that you are not intimidated or overwhelmed when you come on to 21.
Yeah.
You'll be eased out that, okay, fine, if you want to go here, you pick up this. If you want to do that, you pick up that. So that's essentially the idea. The gap primarily, like if I want to, summarize it in 2 points, it would be visibility for niche brands and eliminating decision fatigue.
Are you ever like scared that your brand is like too niche?
So 100%. Not scared, But that is one of the challenges that we have faced because essentially for a marketplace to grow, you need to hit the masses.
Hmm.
You need to hit numbers. We're not operating on that kind of markdown that we would have enough money to be influxing into the market and rolling out. Like I don't have my own brand, right? I'm not working on those profit margins. So 100%, but I also feel that niche is something which is connected and that helps build community, and your community is what helps build your brand. It's very important to have a solid community around it. Like, um, masses is okay. And I always relate it to something like if you today if I walk into a veg non-veg store, for example, right? I am going there and I know I'm picking up a Puma Speed Cat or I'm picking up a Nike Air Force. And that's okay. I'm there for the product and I've picked it up. But I also feel the experience that that veg non-veg store gives me. Yeah. And the feeling that I have once I step out of it, feeling that, okay, now I'm cool.
Yeah, like you're associated with the brand,
Exactly.
associated with the culture.
More than just the product that I've bought, it is the experience that I've had from shopping from a veg non-veg, because that's the community that they've built around themselves. And I feel that is something that we're here to do at 2112.
When I was seeing your website, you have a particular style, you have a particular taste of garments, of accessories, of bags. So essentially, above clothes, you are selling taste. And I always say this, that you can't Shazam good taste.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
How do you communicate that? Like, how do you sell a good taste?
I feel one thing that I constantly focus on and we repeat it constantly is that we're curated.
Yeah.
Reason why we say we're curated is because the brands that you will see, all of them have very solid stories, very solid founders coming in, and everything that you see on the website is curated to fill some or the other gap in your wardrobe. We're not a platform where you'll come in to buy a basic pair of jeans or a basic pair of t-shirt, all pieces are in a way statement that you can dress up, dress down, style it for different occasions. And I feel that is the gap in your wardrobe that 2112 fills. So even if you see the website, you'd always see everything is divided by occasion.
Yeah.
Either you want to go for brunch, you want to go for a date night, you want to go for a vacation. So there's a lot of use case behind it. There's a lot of what to do with the product once you purchase it. So even if you see our Instagram, if we're speaking about a product or a drop from a brand, we make sure subsequently we do a post about how to style it, how you can wear it, where you can wear it, how you can wear it in multiple ways. So I feel that sort of communication is what enables your customer to then relate to the product that you're selling, and that eventually builds taste. I said that, it is subjective anyway, but if you communicate it in a different way, if people relate to it, they come onto your platform, and if they don't, they move to others, and that's fine.
I think it's very long-term game you're doing.
Yeah.
Can't expect like results in even I say 2, 3, 4 years.
Absolutely. And this is something that we've always known since the beginning, that it's not gonna take off in the first year. Touchwood, we've had great responses. We've had some great people from the industry speaking to us, giving us feedback. And I mean, I'm grateful for where we are, but still a long way to go.
So marketplaces fail miserably if they don't have a good UI UX. So how do you make sure that a person, if I'm coming to your website, how do you make sure that I add to cart something or check out something in the first few swipes?
So I would say we've also been working on it for a while, and now we're at a place where we understand what consumer psychology is. We didn't nail it in the first go because, you're so close to your project, you want everything to be aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
You want everything to look aesthetic. Uh, Having said that, minimalism across the platforms that we choose to communicate was not an aesthetic choice. It was more of a psychological choice. Why I say that is because I needed to understand that I'm hosting an X number of brands on my platform. And if I am too loud with the way I communicate, their identity gets overshadowed. And as a platform, I don't want to only sell their clothes. I want to narrate their story as well. So if you see our socials, we will always speak about the brand that we have gotten. We'll speak about the founder because we want that story to come across, and we want to be that platform that brands come to in terms of building their narrative as well. You know, so on the website, what we did essentially, that we realized that, okay, today, if I am tapping into someone's website, if I'm spending enough time, I am already convinced that I want to buy something. Just keeping and making sure that it's easy for the consumer to navigate through your website, because anybody who's coming on to 2112 or any fashion website at that point is already overwhelmed. All consumers are very overwhelmed right now. You don't want to confuse them and speak too much about what you're doing, why you're doing. First, let them see the product,
Yeah.
and then your experience after that purchase is what will get them back to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel just navigating, keeping it very easy, very clean, saying what we do. Like if you land on our website, the second banner that you'll see will tell you what exactly we're doing.
Yeah, I think the UI UX of your website is very nicely done because I do a lot of online window shopping.
Just like me, like we all do.
50 tabs open always, and I have this habit, of always seeing what is the website like, what is the social media like. I'm very picky on details. And your website was just very, I would say it had a muscle memory kind of a thing, that I knew, okay, this thing is over there, this thing is over there.
That's nice. That's the first that I'm hearing. That's really nice.
Yeah, so it's a nice takeaway. That's what I'll tell you.
Thank you. That's really nice. No one's ever told me that. That's a very good point. I'm going to boast about it.
LinkedIn post.
Building muscle memory.
Nice. I was also seeing that you have blogs. So how does blogs help?
You know how you always sit in a space where if I'm trying to purchase something, I'll call up my friend who I think has a good eye, and I'll be like, I'm getting this. What do you think about it? And if they approve of it, you will indefinitely buy. So I want 2112 to come out as that space that if you're entering 2112 and if you see a product, it should give you validation that it will be good and it will work for you. It's that advice from a friend. So that's why blog came in, essentially, that we communicate more, give a more human aspect to 2112. But apart from that, SEO, yes. But I personally wanted to bring the human aspect and conversational aspect to 2112 more than SEO, because I didn't think much when I was writing the blogs myself. I didn't think about what people are searching for, which I should have. It's stupid of me. I mean, now that we do it, we make sure that we have all of those things put in place. But personally, I wanted that human touch to come across.
I think as FMC students, we are always used to doing 10 things at one time.
And that's the worst. It's a blessing in disguise. Like I remember meeting the HOD for FMC recently, and I was like, you've done the worst thing for your students, because I'm just like, I feel I can do everything.
Exactly.
And then I don't hire people. And then I'm just like, oh my God, I can't do anything. And then you're lost in the soup, because then you don't know where to move ahead, where to leave, because you're so constitutional about the things that you're doing.
Plus, then when you know a certain design elements, then you're so picky that this has to be in this manner. This has to be in this manner. Then it's just a circle. It's just a circle.
I think all my design interns have hated me. They have all hated me, because I will, believe me, Muskan, in the first 3 months of us launching 2112, we had a social media agency with us, and a really cool agency. I still really like those people. But my problem was just that if they're sending me something, the stupidest thing I would do is I'd be like, give me an open file, and I would correct it myself.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, you're just not getting it. Let me just do it myself. And I,
That tweaking, itna sa na.
yeah, like the font doesn't need to be like that. It needs to be placed like this. This one doesn't need to be in italics. The size needs to go smaller.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's high time now that we move away from all of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel somehow that's also helped us build that language for 2112, right? Because I've been so picky about what I want to put on the page and how I want it to look. We've always played around with the negative space. I was certain that I didn't want too many things happening. So only sort of motion graphics that we did, we played around with text. And yeah, that's it. I mean, we're trying. I hope to find somebody.
Everyone is trying.
Everyone is just trying. I'm telling you, no one knows anything.
Yeah.
Especially in entrepreneurs, I don't think anybody knows anything. It's just that the second you're successful, your opinion matters.
Yeah. Hidden trial.
Yeah, it's all hit and trial. And no matter who tells you what, it's only perspective. None of it is solution. You need to figure out your own way. You need to figure out and map out your own journey. There's no other way. Yeah.
But coming back to, what you were saying earlier, that we are now figuring out that what customers are searching for.
Yeah.
So what is the Indian customer buying right now?
In a broad manner, I would say dresses are always a top seller.
Short, long?
Uh, mm, Not necessarily short. Midi dresses go really well.
Yeah.
Midi dresses go really, really well because I feel they work for mostly all body types.
Mm.
Uh, People that are coming in to buy short dresses usually have customizations around it. So something that is modest but gives you a good silhouette. Dresses in that respect are always top sellers. The second thing would be quad sets.
Yeah.
I feel there is so much exhaustion around it, but still there are different takes on it, like maybe shorts and a shirt, or like a skirt and a blazer, or something like that, but just a set. I also feel that's because consumers can be lazy around picking around what they want to wear. So sets just generally work.
Plus, in a country like India, we want value for money.
Absolutely.
Cord sets give you 3 options.
Yes, exactly.
Very big factor that cords are very.
Exactly. And having said that, I have also recently noticed in the past 6-7 months that our consumers they're more powerful than ever. They know exactly what they want and they will get just that. You can't fool them anymore.
Yeah. And if you are not giving them, they get it.
They'll get it somewhere else. Absolutely. They'll get it from somewhere else, but they want what they want. They know what they want. And I feel in that respect, Muskan, like homegrown brands in general. I mean, I was just thinking about this and I was speaking with a friend the other day, and I feel like it's really enabled personal style in a lot of people. And why I say that is because if I have 800 brands, 2000 brands that I'm surfing through, and everyone has their own unique design language, right? Everyone's doing something different. And if I go and purchase from that one brand or two brands or three brands, I am also sort of building my personal style and relating to that brand. You know what I mean? So, like, their design language relates to me. So maybe that helps me enable my personal style as well. Because I feel what happens with fast fashion is that I know that if I enter a Zara, I'm going to get something good only. Chalo, let me just go. मैं लेके आती हूँ, like ठीक है, Zara में क्या ही प्रॉब्लम होएगी, सब पहन रहे हैं, मैं भी पहन रही हूँ. बट होम ग्रोन ब्रांड्स में क्या होता है कि अगर आपको किसी का डिजाइन लैंग्वेज समझ में आ रहा है तो आप खरीद रहे हो, वरना आप नहीं खरीद रहे हो. तो आई फील दैट हेल्प्स यू ओपन अप दैट ब्लॉक इन योर माइंड ऑल्सो एंड फिगर आउट व्हाट यू रियली वांट टू वेयर एंड हु यू आर एज अ पर्सन व्हेन इट कम्स टू योर ओन.
Yeah. Like, if supposedly, if you ask me what are my 3 favorite homegrown brands, you automatically understand my style.
Yeah, tell me.
My 3 favorite homegrown brands. First would be, I would say, Mystery. I love Mystery a lot. Then I would say Sand by Shireen. Then I say Happy Space.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah,
So exactly, my style.
absolutely. Yeah.
If I go to a Zara and I get bunch of random clothes, you won't get my style.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Because then you're buying into the brand. It's not just the products that you're buying. You're buying into the brand.
So, do you identify any topical moments as well that that is mahine mein you can anticipate this product is going to sell more? Have you seen any of that shifts?
So a lot of silent factors affect this kind of movement. I would say one not so silent one is, of course, social media.
Yeah.
So if you have any social media trends, if say a Hailey Bieber's worn capris, people would want capris. So if there's any influential person wearing a particular silhouette, the next 3-4 months would be brands trying to make that and push that.
Maximize it.
So, and then it's like a first advantage. Like whoever does it first gets the maximum amount of sales, because after a point, then it goes away. So, that, and then I feel colors also matter a lot, and they do change seasonally. Like as much as we think that okay, beiges always work. It's not true. It's not true. I remember speaking with one of the founders, and they said that in their respective collection, they wanted to indefinitely include 3 to 4 pieces in beige because they said beige, of course, all age groups wear and it'll be great and it always gets picked up. And those 4 pieces just did not get picked up at all. Everything else went. And it was weird because we were like, okay, why not? I think at that time, people were trying to experiment with maximalism since that was being spoken about. So they didn't tap into beiges at all. So colors, silhouettes, of course, matter. Fabrics also. Like we believe linen does really, really well in summer, right? Uh, it is very breathable, but it's also very high maintenance. So you're not going to be selling out so much of linen in peak summer.
Then
Spring, you will sell a lot of linen, but peak summer, you will not sell linen because it's too much of high maintenance. You got to keep it ironed. You got to iron it before every time you wear it, So, like that, those things do affect. And then, of course, yeah, when it comes to the bigger guns, like what's happening culturally within the country, the economic state of country, those things matter a lot. If you're moving towards like a dull point, you will see like towards the end of the month people stop buying, especially most of the people are on jobs, right? So towards the end of the month you'll see like we usually don't do any new drops during the end of the month. It's usually post the 6th or the 7th. So end of the month, there is hardly any consumption. Then post first, second, people are immediately, there's a lot of influx.
yeah,
A lot of people buy. Like this week also, first to fifth, I was like, oh my God, what's happening? And then it sits. And then it sits. So those times, yes, they affect. Yeah.
interesting. I saw that a lot of well, like a big face like Alia Bhatt wore something from one of your partnered brands. So does that factor helps a lot?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Any piece I feel that is worn by an influencer or a celebrity indefinitely works. I feel when you're giving your product to an influencer, that depends on if they organically like the product. If the customer likes the product, they will get it. A lot of times, conversion is not that easy. But with celebrities, what happens is that they have such high EMV uh, uh, that people, if the product is not good, they might not come back to your website again, but they will buy it once, especially if it's in the same budget. So with celebrities, of course,
Yeah. Personally, how I get influenced by influencers
yeah,
is when they repeat garments.
absolutely, yeah.
So you can see it, and when if they're like repeating something and they genuinely like it,
Yeah, yeah.
then I think
You realize, yeah, the way they speak about a product, you realize. I feel that's what I'm saying, that the customer is so aware these days, you can't fool them.
So tell me, supposedly, if I am a brand today reaching out to you guys for onboarding me, so what are the 3 or 4 aspects? Like, what is a checklist to onboard a brand? Very unfiltered.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So honestly, of course, like if I definitely scout through your website, your socials, how you're talking about your brand, what is the kind of communication, what is the uh, tone that you're setting, and also what are you trying to do with your product? Like what is the solution that you're giving and what is the problem? Like I feel this is something that I try to understand from seeing the product and where you're placing your product, how you're styling it, how you're speaking about it, how you're shooting it. I feel a lot of that gives indication towards what you think of the brand and where the founder perspective is, right? For me, I have always depended on the founder more than I have depended on the brand.
Elaborate.
So, if there is somebody reaching out to me, I will indefinitely set up a call with the founder and I will take a whole lowdown on what they think they're doing with the brand. And if I connect to that story and if I feel that's something that I want to give a platform to through 2112, I will move ahead with it. Like there are so many brands that you see, and which is why you won't see a lot of brands that are already established on 2112. You'll see a lot of brands that are just emerging and are just entering the market.
That's why I love you guys.
Because I feel, you know what? Because it's so important for you to get support at the right time.
Exactly.
So there is like 2-3 brands that reached out to us who had just started, like, 100 followers, 120 followers, 4 products. But I liked the brand so much and I was like, yeah, bro, come, like,
Aa jao.
let's just start. And they've done really well. They've done really, really well. And I'm very blessed to have the roster that I have because these minds are so great and they're coming with so much passion. I feel that matters a lot. And if you're strong about the passion that you have and if you're focused towards what you want to do with your product, you will indefinitely succeed.
How many brands have you said no to?
I don't know. Akam.
Just like tell it, is it like 10s, 20s?
30s, in the early 30s.
Nice.
Because also it's not that, oh my God, like क्या है क्यों है ऐसा नहीं है. It's just certain brands, so I don't know what they're doing and why, like what is happening.
Yeah.
But some I just don't relate to it. And I feel like because I have the responsibility to sell your brand, if I don't understand it, I can't do anything about it. And I'm not trying to be boastful at all. Like I am mostly reaching out to brands as well because I want my space to be associated with those brands. But like, yeah, when it doesn't fit, it just doesn't fit.
Yeah. What fashion opinion do you have that can get you cancelled on Instagram?
Get me cancelled on Instagram.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because you are so much about curation. I'm very sure बहुत interesting होगा.
Uh, I don't know if it's a fashion opinion, but I feel like, I mean, nothing to do with what you're wearing or what you're doing. I just have this opinion about brands in general, like fashion brands in general, aimlessly tapping into social trends. I feel it's really stupid. And I feel it's the maximum damage causing phenomenon that you can do to your brand. Like, I mean, I don't know if you've seen in the recent past, everyone's obsessed with pickleball. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why? Why are you placing your sari on a pickleball court? It's not even cool anymore. That contrast is also not even cool anymore. So I just feel like, I mean, people just need to cut away from the noise. Like, it's okay. I feel sometimes a strong statement can just be to stay silent. You don't always have to be a part of the herd that, okay, fine, my consumer is now playing pickleball. Let me place my product here. I will do all the shoots in the pickleball court. I will launch rackets. It's not important. Like your brand has nothing to do with it. Apart from that, nothing else.
This won't get you cancelled.
I don't want to say anything. Why don't you tell me?
Fashion opinion that could get me cancelled.
Yeah.
I have a lot, but
Wow, you have a lot. Share.
I have to think. I have a lot, but I have to think. I think blue jeans are overrated.
Thank you.
Oh shit.
Thank you, Muskan.
No, I mean
Yeah.
explore. There's so many type of things you can do with bottoms.
Yeah.
So many, and people are still wearing blue jeans every day.
Yeah.
I think
Fair.
that can be played upon. Like wear blue jeans and like do something, like play something around with it, like wear something unique. Like
Put in effort.
there are skirts, there are shorts, there are trousers, there
Especially in a time right now where there's so much.
of course the denim भी अब इतने colors के आ गए हैं यार.
That's true. That's true. That's true. I get it. Yeah.
I think that it can get me cancelled.
No, don't worry. The fashion girlies will agree. Don't.
Yeah. But coming to my next question, we all know that marketplaces are a burning model. So how do you make sure that you are earning some profits?
Uh, it is hard. It's honestly very hard. And we've also learned it the hard way. Because what happens is, as fashion students, you're trying to do something of your own, you hardly think of the aspects of running a business. Technically,
Yeah.
we're not, our foundation is not that. Our foundation is this creative bubble, you know, that's where we operate in. But when it comes down to the ground level of working on a business, I feel what I realized after 7, 8 months into the business was that, okay, fine, there are two ways that I can go about it. Either I increase my markdowns, right? But for me to increase my markdowns, I don't have a brick and mortar. I have just started, right? So brands are not, and brands are also, homegrown brands are also coming from not an influx that they can give so much from their profit margins as well, right? Uh, so for me to ask that is a little like, okay, fine, if it goes well, if they agree, they agree. If they don't agree, they don't agree. But you also need to sort of justify why you're asking that markdown, right? It can't just be that I'm not making money. Um, the other way is to just go mass. Then you just, like, add more and more and more brands that are doing well, and then you start selling them, and then you hit the masses. And because marketplace का गेम ही सारा मास पे है, अगर आप मास को केटर नहीं कर रहे हो, वॉल्यूम में ही चलेगा, वरना नहीं चलेगा. बट मुझे वो नहीं करना. मुझे वो नहीं करना. आई एम वेरी I'm very focused towards preserving the creative aspect of what I have built. And I will continue to do that, and I will try and make and find a way to strike that balance. And what I felt we did recently also was an extension of what we feel we could do in 2112. Like, we did a collaborative collection with one of our brands on board, right? The brand was ADK, and it was great. So it was basically what I wanted to do, and it was like something that we had thought before we started 2112 also, that I wanted it to be a space for collaboration. Now that collaboration could extend into any lens, right? I came up with this idea that we could 2112 as a platform that's curating according to a certain trend mapping that we do, consumer mapping that we do. We would want to give our version to your brand. So if I have this brand on my roster, I feel like what that could be, depending on what consumers are looking for in the market, keeping, of course, your brand value intact. So we co-designed a collection with this brand, and we launched it in last year, September. And touch wood, it did so well. It did so well. Like, I mean, I don't know if you've seen, but there was this check dress and check blazer.
Oh, the green.
Yes.
Oh,
That was from the collection that we designed with the brand. And I feel that is something that I want to do more of, because also we get a huge chunk of our share in that. Our share is much better, right? We get more voice. Our point of view is laid out better. And I feel it's a win-win in all situations. Like, I mean, I'm also making money off of it, and I'm also sort of telling people that this is what 2112 comes from, and why we say we have a point of view as a marketplace, because we're trying to analyze brands in a very different way as compared to other marketplaces, right?
I think brands really need to like understand what you said, that you're building a whole atmosphere around it. You're building
Yeah.
a lifestyle. You supposedly you are a marketplace, like you're a curated marketplace today. You can't just be a curated marketplace.
Absolutely.
You have to look beyond the horizon.
Exactly.
साल 4 साल 5 साल बाद क्या करोगे?
क्या करोगे? मैं यही सेम चीज करती रहूंगी तो क्या? Like, which is why I wanted like more and more people to, like, I mean, we have such great ideas on hand, but all of that pans out in the time that we have. I hope that it does. And like, there's so much to do. I feel like I would really urge brands and founders everywhere to like not be so insecure also. I feel you need to move out of your comfort zone, move in, looking for, like, it's the era of collaboration. Everyone's coming together to build something,
Yeah.
and it's going to help the industry.
That's the whole reason I also kept the name of my podcast Just because I wanted it to be very expandable.
Yeah, it can be anything. Yeah, and you make anything out of it.
They're like, I don't know मैं 2 साल बाद क्या करूंगी, and I don't want the name to limit it.
मैंने भी 2112 इसीलिए रखा था. I was like, इसका कुछ भी बना. It could be anything. It could be a brand. It could be a marketplace. It could be a home decor service. It could be anything. But
Yeah. I think this is what us as creative people are also, we have this common thing that we get bored, but we also think of very आगे का कि ये होगा तो ये होगा.
Yoga, yeah. Our thinking is far-fetched for sure. Yeah. Yeah, because I think the foundation that we have in terms of the projects that we did or the teachings that we've had is all far-fetched. कि अभी ये कर रहे हो, how is that going to affect your model 5 years later? For sure.
Yeah, interesting. But yeah, coming to the business point, what is your revenue model like? Of course, the commissions are one,
Yeah.
and
So, we recently, what we're doing is that since we're putting in so much effort into building brand narratives and speaking more and more about the brand, what we do is we're also offering brands a retainer model, right? So in that there'll be a certain amount which, if you feel that you want to, especially for brands that are just starting out, right? So what we do is then we run ads specifically for your brand. And then we try and speak about your brand. Say we do an entire campaign around your brand with 2112. We do some personal interviews, we do some shoots, we do all. So shoots we're doing anyway, like every 5 to 6 months we do a collaborative shoot with all products. But what I mean by this shoot is maybe like we stitch a campaign around your products, and we can have the founder come in, speak about it, give your perspective, maybe get another brand to collaborate with you. So all of those efforts that require our time and effort as well, we are now starting to put that on a retainer. That if you want specifically your brand attention, say suppose if you want your brand to be on the homepage for 1 week, so there that retainer
placement charges.
yeah, then the retainer includes that. So we're just starting to do that, and we've had like 5, 6 brands who are doing that with us.
I'm interested to know what is your current customer demographic looks like city, age group. What is?
Um, so all women, of course. And then metros, Delhi, Mumbai primarily, and within 2 tier, Punjab, Ludhiana, and Amritsar. We also have a lot of people coming in from the south. South is a very big market for us. Karnataka, huge market. Demographic in terms of age would be anywhere starting from 24, 25, moving up to a 45.
Hmm.
It's not the very young generation.
Yeah, because it's your clothing is premium.
It is a little premium. We're aspirational for the younger generation. We have a lot of people coming in when we go out on sales. So aspiration for the younger audience, but I feel the major clientele that we have that's buying regularly from 2112 is ranging mostly above 30.
You know, I've one of our previous guests also shared that she has a premium perfume brand. So she was also saying that unka best performing state is the South.
Yeah, because also South is a very uh, educated audience. They're aware.
Exactly what she said.
They're aware, and they also they don't they're like, okay, fine, I want this, I'm gonna go and get it.
Not flashy.
They're not flashy at all. They're so understanding. And I've never had one customer that has ordered from South tell me कि ये टेढ़ा है, इसका 1 इंच कम कर दो, इसका. Not at all. Not at all. I feel like within metro, that's the major case. Delhi, Gurgaon, Bombay, like if you're selling something and 1 inch is also loose, they will eat your head. They will be like, no, fix it for us. South is very calm.
So, Prita, tell me what is the unpopular opinion you have that most founders won't agree with about business?
I think I don't know how right I am on this, but I just feel being a founder isn't your personality, it's a part of it. So I feel people just need to understand that. Do more with your day and derive your happiness from other things as well. I feel that's very important. Like it's a part of who you are, it doesn't make you. As much as people say that you need to obsess over it, of course you need to obsess over it, but that doesn't mean that that's all that you have. So, yeah, I feel it's not a personality, it's a part of it.
You know, it's very key point you've highlighted because I've met so many people being a founder is their whole personality.
Yeah, because they only speak about that.
And then their family is irritated, their friends are irritated, no one wants to be with them.
That's what I'm saying. It's great that you're obsessed. You need to be if you're going to be, if you're looking for success. And fine, but I feel just encapsulating yourself in just that, it's not fair. Like, do more with your day. Like, go for a run, read a book, take a nap, yeah. Just like take a nap. It's
Chill.
yeah, chill.
Interesting. I think I've got everything I wanted from this conversation. It was quite insightful.
Thank you.
And just one last question. We do this with every guest. It's our favorite question. What is the best piece of advice you have ever received?
Uh, best piece of advice. Don't solve obvious problems.
Hmm.
Right? When I was starting a marketplace, I remember someone telling me that, bro, just don't solve the obvious problem of inconvenience. Of course, it's a marketplace and you get to shop multiple brands, but that's one part of what you should be giving to your consumer. Uh, what you make them feel after they purchase is what you need to tap into. So tap into the emotional core of everything that you do. Don't solve obvious problems. Go deeper.
Interesting. This is interesting.
Yes.
Like to leave it over there, and thank you so much for giving us.
Big me. It was a great, great time. Thank you so much.
And I am so happy that it came out so natural.
Yeah. And I've bombarded so much information and I've just gone all the way, but I hope you get your cut.
No, no, I will definitely, and I really hope that we can do something in future. Collaborative.
Yeah.
Related.
For you to come on board, do something fun with us, of course. Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Yes.
And thank you so much, and I wish you great things for 2112.
Thank you. Best of luck to you too.
Thank you so much, and see you guys next week.